everyone, my name is Chloe, and I am here today for Tag Week, apparently, because as you're seeing this, it's either my birthday or a couple days right around my birthday, because my birthday was this week. I don't know what day I'll get this out, but so I am here to do the birthday book tag. I just saw this on Morgan's Endless Bookshelf. I think she's a relatively new channel within the last year, and she's a relatively small channel, but she's great. So definitely go check her out. I will have her video linked down below. I put this on for the thumbnail, and I don't know, it kind of looks like a dunce cap, but we'll leave it on. It's fine. So let's just get into the book tag. I didn't really prep this ahead of time, so we're just going to see, similar to my last one, I guess it's tag week / unprepared week, but let's see what the questions are. So the first one is Birthday Cake, a book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adored it anyway. So I feel like historically, this is kind of my jam. It always, like, romance, Debbie Macomber. That's my answer. Debbie Macomber is books that are so cliche, like they are literally Hallmark movies. But her Christmas ones are great. Merry and Bright, I think, is my favorite. The Cedar Cove series, the Blossom Street series, they're all pretty, like, her Cedar Cove is more romance. Blossom Street's a little more women's fiction. Merry and Bright's definitely romance. So they're all pretty, like, I would say Blossom Street's a little, since it's women's fiction, it's a little less, like, cliche and predictable. But for the most part, they're really predictable, but they're just comforting. They're great. I love them. Next is Party Guests, your most anticipated book releases for this year. So I do monthly book release videos, or anticipated releases videos. So I will link that playlist down below. But let's see, let me go to my document and see what is coming up, because I know there's a lot from, like, authors that I love. So The Summer Pact by Emily Giffin. Okay, I'm going to tell you 3, and these all come out the same day. So The Summer Pact by Emily Giffin, I think, is about 3 or 4 women who meet in college, and then, like, something rough happens at the end of college. They all make a pact to stay friends forever, and then, like, 10 years later, life is going hard, and they're all there for each other. I love those kind of stories, and Emily Giffin is an author that I have loved in the past. Some of her books haven't been, like, perfect for me, especially some of her newer ones, so I'm, like, cautiously optimistic, but it's been a while since she's released anything, and I'm excited to give her a shot. So that one, and then, Like Mother, Like Daughter, like, by Kimberly McCreight. She's one of my favorite, like, thriller authors, and she writes a lot of mother-daughter stuff and kind of mother-daughter drama. And this one, I think, is about a girl who, like, finds her mom's bloody shoe. Like, she comes home and her mom's, like, she finds a bloody shoe, and she like, can't find her mom. There's evidence that, like, she had, like, stuff in the oven that's burnt. And so I think it's, like, her and her mom both trying to find and save each other. I don't know, but I love Kimberly McCreight. Next is This Used to Be Us by Renee Carlino. So Renee Carlino, I have not read her entire backlist, but what I have read, I have loved. And I think this is, like, a romance, marriage, and trouble story about a couple who's, like, about to get divorced or something, and then they're looking back on the past 20 years they've had together. And it kind of reading the synopsis kind of reminded me of the movie, it's with Bruce Willis and Michelle Pfeiffer, The Story of Us, I think is what it's called. It's just so good. Like, I love marriage and trouble books. I don't think there's enough of them. So that, I'm really anticipating that. So Emily Giffin, Kimberly McCreight, and Renee Carlino, 3 of my favorite authors, all have books coming out on July 9th. So I'm really excited, and maybe I'm going to have to get a babysitter that day. Not that I could read all 3 in that day, but maybe that entire week. We'll sign them up for a camp or something and read. Next is Birthday Presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. So just lately, I read Flirting with 40 by Jane Porter, which was a book that, like, I just needed something physically to read. So I grabbed one off my shelf. It looked like just a meh book. I can't remember what kind of Goodreads ratings it has, but I loved it. It's about this woman who's turning 40. She's in her first year post-divorce. And so she's trying to figure out life with 2 kids after being divorced and shared custody and all that kind of stuff. And her best friends are all married. And almost like a Stepford situation where it's, like, if you're not married, you're kind of an outcast. And so she's really trying to navigate that. And one of her friends is like, hey, the dad has the kids for a week in January. Let's go to Hawaii. So she's like, okay, fine. I don't really want to, but let's go. And so she goes, but when she gets to the airport, her best friend's like, hey, my husband's sick. I can't leave him with the kids. You got to go solo. And so she goes solo and kind of finds a guy, but just really finds herself. And I was surprised how much I love that book. One second. Okay, sorry. My kids interrupted me, and we are in the middle of garage sale weekend. like twice a year or whatever, my neighborhood says, like, if you got stuff, put it out. We'll do a garage, like a whole neighborhood garage sale, and it's great. So I put all my Pango books out there, and I told my husband, though, like, make sure you're writing down what people buy or take pictures so I know to take it off of Pango. So my kids were coming in here, and I thought it was to tell me that, but they just were not telling me that. They were just trying to interrupt. So anyway, another one that I was surprised how much I loved was The Magic Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden. This was my last Vlogmas book in last year, 2023. It was the last book that I picked for Vlogmas, and it was so good. It ended up being my favorite of the year. It's about this woman who, I think her aunt, has these lemon drops that when you eat one, you can be transported back to some pivotal moment in your life. So one is like when her mom dies, and one is when she first fell in love, and all these other things, and you can like relive those moments and potentially change things. And it was so good. It, like I said, favorite book of 2023, and it came right at the last minute. Okay, next is Happy Birthday Song, a book that certainly deserves all the hype it got. So I'm going to say two things that I've read recently. I should have them, but I'll say The Women by Kristen Hanna. That one, like, it's not hard for Kristen Hanna to get like a lot of hype, and it's well deserved. This book is about a woman and her experience in Vietnam. She is from a family of Air Force, I think, people who like are very, very proud of the military. And so she decides to join as a nurse, and she is not treated that way. Her family's not proud of her. When she comes home, people don't treat her well, and the things she sees and the things she goes through are awful. And it's a heavy book. Like, I had to take a lot of breaks from it because it's just heavy and heartbreaking. But it's really good and definitely deserves the hype. The other one that I'm going to say on a more lighthearted tone is This Spells Love by Kate Robb. This was a book of the month book, and I haven't heard a ton of people talking about it. Like, I've heard a lot of people hauling it, but not actually reading it. But this is one that I really liked. Like, I was surprised by how much I liked it. This is about a gal who one night wishes that she's like just went through a breakup, and she wishes she never would have met that guy. And she's like, I wish that never would have happened, never would have met that guy. And then she wakes up the next morning and she hasn't met that guy. But that means she also doesn't have her best friend, who is a guy. But she does not have, they've never met. Life is completely different. And so it's kind of, again, that like, what would you do differently? What would you actually rather? And I loved it. And I was surprised. Like, I don't know. I was surprised. Next is Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. Okay, hold on. I've actually read two lately. So I read Everything by Kate Baer. Let me see. Actually, I'm going to pull a book and give you some actual quotes. Okay, so I just recently read What Kind of Woman by Kate Baer, as well as And Yet I read a long time ago. I Hope This Finds You Well. I read all those, but let's see. I have so many tabbed in this. Let's see. Okay, let's just read this. This is the second one, I think. Imagine if we took back our diets, our grand illusions, the time spent thinking about the curve of our form. Imagine if we took back every time we called attention to one or the other, her body, our body, the bad shape of things. Imagine the minutes that would stretch into hours, day after day, stolen back like a thief. Imagine the power of loose arms and assurance, the years welcomed home in a soft cotton dress. She just is so good. And like the last one is For My Daughter on a Bad Day. Life will rough you up, throw you to the shore like a crashing wave, or like a wave crashing, sand in your hair, blood in your teeth. When grief sits with you, hand dipped with rage, let it linger. Hold its pulse in your hands. There's no remedy for a bad haircut or ruined love like time. Even when death is coming, even when the filth rises in the back of your throat, this is not the worst of it. And if it is, listen for the catbird calling. No matter the wreckage, they'll still sing for you. So, so many good ones. So many good ones. Gosh. And like the little miracles, to end up in this home with its red front door and casual crumbling, to fill it with sun lamps and paper chains, to hear the thud of children, songs at their lips, to unclasp the thought of leaving, tie it to the door, to run into the gaping mouth of change and know its suffering, to find the ones who say, I'm not afraid of sitting in the dark with you. These are so good. And like everything by her is so good. The other one that I just recently read, let me see if I still have it on Kindle. It was one that I borrowed from my library because I heard somebody talk about like a stay-at-home mom book, and they didn't have the book that I like heard somebody talking about, but they did have a different one. It's actually on Hoopla. Let's see if I can still, I read it through Hoopla, and let's see if I can see some of the quotes. Like in general, it was not the best thing ever for me. But there were some things that she said that were so like, just so meaningful to me. Let's see. How long until you realize that although the ministry of your children is great, I have called you to more? How long until you realize that I made you? You're beautifully and perfectly designed in my image for my glory, and you were created for more than the small life that you're limiting yourself to. How long until you realize that while the ministry of raising your children is vital, there are others there who need what you have and want you to show me to them. So this is the Diary of a Stay-at-Home Mom. I'll put up a picture of it. But she is a Christian lady, and just a lot of her insights. Yeah. And I realized a few weeks ago that I've gotten so caught up in doing all the things a stay-at-home mom should be doing and doing them well that I have forgotten to sit at the feet of Jesus, the feet of my children, and at the feet of my husband. Well, I feel like I'm very guilty of that. Let's see. One more. You guys are probably done. But God really challenged me about a week ago, asking me to give the people I love freedom to fail. I've been going crazy trying to be this super mom who teaches her kids all the right things to do, but it's been too much for everyone. My children can't live up to the unbelievably high expectations I place on them all the time. That's not to say I shouldn't have big expectations, but it does mean that when they don't reach them, they should be covered by grace, not by condemnation. Grumpy moms don't often give grace, not even to themselves. So I just felt like, those are just two stories right there, or two books right there that and just a couple of quotes that really were meaningful to me. So there's your answer. Let's see. Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a more mature reader. Okay, I'm going to say Love the One You're With by Emily Giffin. You guys have probably heard me talk about this many times, that I have vivid memories of reading this as a young adult. I don't know if I was in college or when, but young adult, read this. This is about a gal who's, it's about a gal who it's a marriage in trouble. Ellen and Andy's marriage doesn't just seem perfect. It is perfect. There's no question how deep their devotion is and how naturally they bring out the best in each other. But one fateful afternoon, Ellen runs into Leo for the first time in 8 years. Leo, the one who brought out the worst in her, the one who left her heartbroken with no explanation, the one she could never quite forget. So she's married, content, but she runs into the one who got away. And I think, I have not reread this book since then because I'm afraid that I'm not going to like it. Because as I don't know if I would appreciate it more, but I would definitely see it differently. Because now as a wife who's been married for, I don't know how long, we've been together, 10 years. I don't know. I'm awful with that kind of stuff. When I say I'm not romantic, I'm not romantic. But my perspective has changed so much that I'm going to be like, girl, the one who got away, good, let him get away. I think my perspective would definitely change as an adult now reading this. And then, let's see. Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. Okay, I don't have this one, but this one's easy. I would say Everybody's Got Something, I think is what it's called, by Robin Roberts. When my mom, so story time, long story short though, we got married. My mom had been having health issues for a long time. We got married and went on a 2-week vacation for our honeymoon and then came home, and a couple days later my mom was diagnosed with cancer. She had esophageal cancer, and so I just kind of packed up and moved down to Houston with her, and she went and got treatment at MD Anderson and spent, a couple months down there helping her through that. And as I did, I read Everybody's Got Something by Robin Roberts. She also had a podcast at the time. And I don't watch GMA. I don't even know if she's still on it. I didn't really know who she was, but I ended up reading that, and she's right. Everybody's got something, and everybody goes through hard times. God promises hard times here on earth, And so, I read that and then read the book that she wrote with her mom, I think, and listened to her podcast. I went deep in the Robin Roberts hole, but it was really comforting to me at a hard time in life. So, I think that's it. That's everything for the birthday book tag. So, yeah, if you have a birthday coming up, let me know. May birthdays are the best. Actually, they're not, but they're great. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.